Good morning, good morning. We call the Community Services Committee meeting to order. Dr. Cobb, would you give the invitation for us, please?
Well, please stand.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we come to you and ask for your guidance in everything we do today. Help us to make good decisions for the Cherokee Nation and the United States. I would ask that you watch out for all the military families, soldiers and their families around the world, and anyone that's traveling and in harm's way today. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly, could you do the roll call?
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Chris Soap. Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin.
Amen.
Hannah Corey Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Cowan Watts. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, we'll move on with the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the July 13th regular session?
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. I want to move right into reports. I look in the audience. I think we know most everybody here. But Norma, you want to come forward and give us an overview or some information that you made? I've been late about getting on your report.
Well, I'll tell you one of the a real joy that we're looking forward to this Friday is the groundbreaking for the new Nowata building that ICDBG has funded, that my staff wrote for, and that will be a food distribution building that will also house a place for senior nutrition site and also some offices so that we can have staff rotating our different programs up in that Nowata area where we've not had access for our citizens to a lot of our programs. Should make a great difference in their ability to access programs and probably feel more a part of the nation and really enhance what we have with the nice clinic up there. So that you all, if you haven't, you should be receiving an invitation. It will be at 10 o'clock on Friday at the site, which is right beside, it's where the old clinic was. So we're going to try to keep it short because it's supposed to be getting pretty hot again. But we will have some refreshments and some shovels and probably one for any of you that come. So
All right, well, thanks for the invitation.
we're very excited about that. Our clothing vouchers, I don't have the final number yet. We're still auditing, but around 5,900. It was pretty smooth. You can't do an event like that without some glitches, but I believe that we were able to keep folks cool. I appreciate those of you who provided drinks and some lunch for our staff. That's always very nice because it's very hectic and hard to get away to find food during those long days. But I think we had a good turnout. We served some areas that we hadn't been present in before, and so that was good. We also had a delegation from USDA here to take a look at our food distribution program. They were here for a couple of days this past week. The chief of policy at the federal level, and then we had the USDA representative from the region and two other field reps, and they were quite impressed with our operation. They took a lot of pictures. We're going to be having the national conference next year in Tulsa of FDPIR, and they were already saying we've got to get people, really encourage a lot of the tribes to come so they can see the operation here, because it's really some things we want to implement throughout Indian country. So we felt very proud getting those comments. I might also add that I was with the delegation along with Councilwoman Fishinghawk and Councilwoman Fraley, who were in New York City week before last at the Harlem Children's Zone, which was a fantastic experience. You know, sometimes you read about things and you get excited and you get a little disappointed, and I believe it was more than we had even thought it would be, and I believe all of you have been given this book. Is that a fire drill? Do I need to stop and run? Jack?
I think it's a personal phone.
I was told that all of you were provided this book. I don't know if that was true or not, but I see some people shaking yes, some shaking no. So if you would like a copy of this book, if you'll contact me, I will make sure that you get it. You may want to check with Gail or Sheila. Do you know if there's... Okay, we'll get you the books, because I think it's really important that everyone read it, because this is a direction that I believe a lot of the service groups will be headed toward. I know Education and Human Services are certainly headed in this direction. The philosophy is very good. We have the resources to begin this, so we're very excited about the quality of education and help for families that the Harlem Children's Zone's philosophy can bring to us. Lastly, see, you're getting a lot from me today, so I wanted to bring to your attention what we're doing with some of the ARA funds. I won't go into great detail, but just to let you know that in some of your areas, we have been able to give startup grants through our child care ARA funds. So we have 5 new child care, now these are either centers or homes. I think 4 of them are centers and 1 is a child care home that probably wouldn't have started without these ARA funds that helped them get some of the equipment and things that they need. So there's 1 in Craig County, 1 in Mays County, 1 in Cherokee, and 2 in Tulsa County, one of those being in the Owasso area. So it's always nice to know what the ARA funds can do. So I wanted to let you know that it has been helpful to child care in many ways. We've done a lot of other things with it. We've provided a lot more summer daycare for school-aged children. We were able to provide some grants to a lot of schools for that. So it's been a really good thing for our child care. So with that, I'll take a breath and stop.
Just a couple of comments. Normally, the clothing voucher, I thought it went pretty smooth this year. I think it's improving every year. We were at the voucher giveaway there in Jay, and I don't think I heard a complaint. Maybe one complaint was about the posting of the income guideline levels, and I did see it posted in there, but it was posted. I don't think it was posted in the right place, because what had happened, they'd waited there in line for a couple of hours, and then went and talked to the intake person, and then found out they were over income. So I don't know. You may just want to put it to where it really can be seen, and that would probably save it. That was the only complaint I got about it. The other thing is a book that you just showed. I've read about half of it, and it's a really good book and gives you an insight of what happens in Harlem areas up there. So it's a good book to read. The other thing I just want to bring to your attention is on the and in child welfare. These kids that are being placed in some of these homes, they're having some problems. And I think I talked to you about these kids going to the clinics up there, and those kids should be automatically seen, because they come from Indian child welfare and they happen to be Indian folks. So we've had some problems about one family didn't get seen and they had to go to another emergency room at the
Was that a foster care family that took them?
Foster care.
Okay. They really need to get with their worker as quickly as they can to find out, because we do, they obviously have that connection, or we wouldn't have them. So somewhere there's a breakdown.
Yeah, there's a breakdown, and so
I'll try to discuss that again, bring it up to our foster care folks to make sure, really emphasize that.
And it's probably a good idea if they get it set up, these clinics, even before they put them in the
It
home.
may be something we also need to talk to health about. I can talk to Melissa and just say there may be some new folks who really don't understand how this works. So.
And I think that was the case. They didn't understand how it works.
We'll try to get some language out to both areas.
Okay. Ms. Fishing-Hawk.
Yeah, Norma, I asked this a million years ago, and she told me she thought it was your program. The Cherokee speakers, where we have Cherokee speakers that go into homes where they're caring for children and teaching them.
We do have a program through child care that has a special focus on speakers.
Okay. I got told, 2 or 3 of my speakers in your county called me and said that was going to be cut.
I believe that's correct.
Y'all's cut the program?
Well, the money's gone. It was not anything we want to stop, but the money's gone.
Was it a grant or?
No, I believe it was tribal funds. It's one of the things we had to scale back on. It has to go away somewhere, so that was one of the places that it is.
Okay.
We're looking for other funds for that because we think it's a very good program.
Councilor Snell has a question.
Norma, how far out is the construction on this project at NOLA on the food distribution? When does construction start on it?
I spoke with facilities earlier, well, I think it was late last week, and I know they're working on getting ready for the bids. They said that they were, I said, you know, I need to know where we are because I'm not seeing anything. And they said, we're not worried. We feel like everything's on track. And that once they break ground and get started, it will go very fast. So we're looking at probably this time next year to have it completed. I certainly hope, but that's what I was told.
Thank you.
Dr. Cobb.
I don't want to get into human resources territory or staff issues, but may I suggest some change in verbiage? At least we think about it. I get a lot of calls, and I've gotten a lot lately. Obviously, it's in the fiscal year. When someone calls, and these are people that I know, these aren't just random calls, and they're being told, and this has happened since I've been on the council, they're being told, we're out of money. I mean, the quote is, we are out of money. May I suggest at maybe a next staff meeting, consider the allocated funding for this fiscal year has been exhausted? Something along those lines, because just the blunt, we're out of money, leads to a whole lot of other casino questions, and it just leads to a lot of stuff.
Dr. Cobb, I have that conversation frequently with our staff because, number one, that's just not an appropriate answer. Because the appropriate answer is that there may not be funds in that program, but let's see what else we can find to help you. So I don't know if that's someone new. I can't answer that, but I can tell you that I'll have that conversation with you.
And I know you do.
I'm very, very aware of that.
And I know you do a good job.
I appreciate it. But no, it's good to know it's happening again.
We head into October, and it always speeds up. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Norma, I have, I guess it's a comment, and I'm not sure that it would be directed toward your programs or not, but I had some people call me, and I'll just use an example of an air conditioning unit. They live north of Grove, and our contract, what I understand, is a contract with a vendor here in Tahlequah. Well, their air conditioner acts up on them at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and they call me, then I send an email down, and we can't react because the person that's got the contract is in Tahlequah. Is there a chance of getting vendors on call, say, in different areas other than Tahlequah, like Grove or like Bonita, some places like that?
I don't have contracts with
Okay.
anyone for repairs, so Gary, do you think that might be housing? I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to pass the buck to Gary, but the two groups that really do air conditioning are David and myself. We put the air conditioners in. We don't have a contract for any repair work, but I think through housing, for those folks that are housing related, that I'm just guessing.
Okay, well, I'll contact them.
Yeah. And I know David's not here today, but I know David and I email constantly about air conditioning and things like that.
And the reason I'm saying this is, some of these people that call me are, 80, 83, 84 years old, and they just can't wait, or it's tough for them to wait till Monday or Tuesday to get service. And if they had someone that was on call at those particular towns or close to them, if they could react a little faster. But, okay, we'll talk to Mr. Cooper.
Let's try to work that out, because I think that maybe, I don't have the contracts, but I understand the concern.
Got a question.
I never did hear back from y'all. I had a family down in Adair County that had a foster child or a small newborn that was a preemie. And I sent you an email, and I never heard back. That needed some help. The family needed several things. The roof had fell in.
Was it grandparents?
Yes, the ceiling had fell in.
I know that I do recall, they'll have to go back. I know there was a contact made.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's taken care of. I never did.
Can you write out the name for me
Yeah.
or email it to
I'll
me?
email it to you.
Because I do remember the circumstance, but I don't remember the detail.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Norma. Good report.
you.
Moving on down to community service with Charlie. Charlie Phillips. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
We've got your report, and Charlie, I want to commend you on your report. It's a good report. I know I had mentioned sometimes if it's a little longer, that's fine, but this is a good report you're giving us. So it pretty much answers a lot of questions, but still, as a courtesy to you, I'd like you to give us an overview of things you might have missed or something that's come up between now and when you made the report. So,
Well, first of all, the housing projects are going fairly well, and then also all the other activities are moving along pretty well. And I know most of you probably asked about Red Bird a couple of times, and that's doing well. The road's under construction, the water line's going in, power line companies moving in, phone companies were there the other day, kind of taking out the sites and looking at it, and then so we've got a couple of houses up, and we've got some more pads. We've got a few more pads ready to be tested, footing, and then Fairfield's moving along pretty well, and then the water lines are doing good. We started the lease project, and so several other things under construction right now, and so the things moving along good. Harley, a lot of activities going on out there, so we look you up for any questions.
good news. Okay. All right, any questions for Charlie?
How's Fairfield doing?
River's been moving along again because we had the environmental issue came up, so they kicked up that again. I'm pretty sure they started right. We got the approval to continue and to move forward, so it's moving along again.
Thank you, Charlie.
Ms. Jordan.
Charlie, do you think there's a point, or do you believe there's a point where we could look at, on water and sanitation, maybe providing that to the new housing before the 75% completion time? Because what's happening, and at least a number of people that have talked to me, is that they start the process at 75%, but the house gets completed and it's sitting there and they can't move in because they can't get housing or water and sanitation. I believe the rule is it has to be 75% complete before you'll do water and sanitation, or put them in the process of going through and getting to the point where we will bid that out or do it in-house. And it seems like on just about every case that I've come across lately, the house is getting completed, it's sitting there, and we can't get our lines in. We can't get a water hookup or a sewer hookup. And I wonder if maybe we ought to visit that rule and see if we could drop that back to maybe possibly a 50% completion. That they get the process started at 50% completion, and then maybe by the time the house is done, we've got the water and sanitation in and everything works. Everybody gets to move in at the time they're supposed to move in, instead of trying to make a rental payment and make a house payment on a construction loan. And we're running into that more and more frequently. Do you think we could look at that?
Yeah, we'll look at it, see if we can change that.
Because I think it's our policy for the 75%, and I know that's a good policy, because I know we want to make sure that that house gets completed.
Right.
But if they've got a construction loan, you can pretty well figure it's probably going to get completed.
I know.
And so if we can drop that back to say 50%, I think maybe we will have our things done at the time that they have the house done, so that we can get them in the house. Or even worse, some of them are moving in without water and sewer, and we know that's not a good idea. You take your kids in there and you're hauling water to flush your stools, and well, I don't know where your stool's really going to, except probably under the house. So that's not a good idea, but some of them are opting to do that, and that's pretty hard on a new house. So if we could look at that,
Okay.
policy, I think it would be greatly appreciated. I doubt that I'm the only one that's got those calls. So I'm hopeful
we can
that
look
we
at
can
that.
maybe give
We'll look
it
at it.
a thought.
Okay, we'll look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Staff.
Charlie, down at Black Fox Hollow, and off of South Hill, Kansas. Anyway, there's been several people asking me to ask you about getting a water line down there. Be about a 2-mile line. And I guess I don't know, you have to, but we need to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, we can look at it and maybe go and do a survey, see how many families we have, what they need. Look at that.
Okay.
Okay. And so you can
I'll
just
get
call you
with you.
later, or you just get with you later, call you later.
Right.
Okay.
Any more questions for Charlie? Thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
Next up is Road and Transportation with Michael Lynch.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again, I think you've got our report as well, probably incorporated with Charlie's. But I would like to just point out a couple of items. Out of the 6 stimulus-funded projects, ARA projects, we do have all of those either bid out, under construction over there, nearing complete or close to complete. So I wanted to make that known. After we've got them all under contract, we realized that some of our estimates were higher than what the bids came back at. Therefore, we had some excess stimulus funding left over. We did sort of have a heads up on that early on, and we added the Honey Hill project to our stimulus TIP, or our Transportation Improvement Program. So it was already scheduled to receive any stimulus funds if we had any available. We did determine that we're going to have some of those available, so we're going to be shifting some ARA funds over to that project. And then I also want to mention along the lines of that project that that project is out advertised right now for construction. We're going to be opening bids on that a week from today, next Tuesday. So we'll have an idea then. That project has been phased out, if you will. It's going to be constructed in 2 segments, hopefully, because of some right-of-way issues that we had on that project. So we're actually supposed to be building one of the phases. It's about 2/3 of the original project. So anyway, that is all that I have to report, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Michael, I don't know if these are questions or not, but I guess I have some concerns about when natural resources buy land, buy property. And the one that really stands out is the clinic site over in Bonita. I know where that site is, and going to that site, there's almost a 1-lane bridge going there. You got plans, or ODOT had plans, or the Turnpike Authority had plans to widen that out? And the reason I ask this and bring it up is when those lands are purchased, does Natural Resources get with you and give you notifications that, hey, we purchased this piece of property and you need to take a look at it to see if we can add roads to the inventory, or if we need a road to that place? And another one that comes to my attention real quick is the land that we bought behind Hastings Hospital. There's a Ross Road that goes up there. It's a city-owned road. Have they conferred with you to put that on the inventory so we can get a big wide road going to that property? So I don't know that it's going on, because that concerns me about the bridge going to the Bonita Clinic. There's going to be a lot of Indian people travel over that bridge, and it's a narrow bridge.
The first part of the question on the Bonita Clinic, we did not have any foresight on that as far as the purchase of the property. We have been working a lot with both the natural resources folks, construction management folks, as well as we've had about 3 meetings with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, Craig County Commissioners, and ODOT. Secretary Ridley actually came to one of the meetings. It's obviously important to him and the state of Oklahoma. They realize what the tribe is proposing to put on that site up there and what it can mean to Craig County. But to answer your question, Mr. Chairman, it's not on our inventory. We are going to place it on our inventory as quickly as we can. We're in the process of doing that right now. That bridge is, although it may be functionally obsolete, it's not structurally deficient. We have had those. We've looked at the reports on that. It is about 24 foot wide. It's not necessarily a one-lane bridge, but it's wide enough for 2 cars to pass. But it is narrow. It's extremely narrow. OTA has told us that it is not on their immediate radar screen to be replaced, but that if there was some monies available, they would certainly move it up. And so with that being said, that's sort of where we're at on it. We are going to be placing it in our inventory, and at that time it would be eligible for to receive federal funds if it was deemed a priority by the tribe.
Is the road going to the property that was purchased behind Hastings Hospital? Is it on the inventory?
It is. Okay. It is, and we did get in on that early enough. That's also called Ross Street locally in Tahlequah, or I believe it would be called East Ross, but that is on our inventory, yes, sir.
And the reason I bring this up, I know there's a meeting in Oklahoma City in September about IRR
yes.
consultation, and I think it's important, and make sure you keep this committee or the tribal members up to date, or the tribal council up to date when that meeting is, because I'd hate to see us go backward as far as IRR funding goes. And I think the other point I want to make out is any land purchased with those funds south of I-40, I think you really need to be aware of those funds, because you can put those in inventory, and that controls our allocation of dollars. So that's important that we get those on the inventory.
Right. I would like to point out that we have had meetings recently, and the Bonita property meetings is what's prompted this. But we are going to start scheduling a monthly meeting with the construction management folks and natural resources to discuss exactly what you're talking about, to try to coordinate better on their purchases and the plans versus our inventory and our plans. So we are in the process of coordinating that, and we're also planning on including Billy Hicks's group, the water sanitation group, in on that as well. The September 21st meeting that you mentioned, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Chairman. That is an important meeting to us. It's a tribal consultation meeting on the proposed question 10 issue. I've mentioned that before in previous meetings, but it's going to. I'm not sure exactly what the forum is going to be like at that meeting. They're calling it tribal consultation. I'm not sure if the tribes will have an opportunity to speak or just sit and listen. I'm not exactly for sure on that yet. I will try to find that out. But if any of you are available to attend that meeting, I can send the information on the location, the date and time of that meeting to Shelley and have her get that out to everyone. But certainly we would appreciate any support if anyone is available.
I think, unfortunately, that's the same day as our budget hearings are going too, so it may be kind of tough. And we may have the budget all wrapped up with them.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, hopefully. But anyway, keep us informed. If it's something we could do, I'd certainly be willing to go up and testify, or I'm sure other council members would be too. Any questions for Michael? Okay, as customary, Michael's on the next one. It's for public comments, and this is a standing agenda item, so we want to make sure that if anybody's here has any comments about roads, that they come forward now. If not, thank you, Michael.
Thank you all.
Next is David Sullivan on the panel, and I see Mr. Cooper's here to update us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
David is, of course, gone. He left out this morning to go to Minneapolis for what he hopes is the last of the negotiated rulemaking sessions. I believe you have his report. I'll be more than happy to take any questions. There are a couple of things that I would like to note. The Housing Authority board meeting is scheduled for this Friday at 12 o'clock noon. That's at the Aline Hogner Conference Room at the Housing Authority offices down off Hensley Drive. I believe the only other item is there is one public disclosure that we do need to make. It's down under the low rent apartments. There is a Mr. Billy Crittenden who is possibly going to receive assistance under the low rent apartment program, and he is a relative to Councilmember Crittenden. I believe those are the only items on the report that I need to bring to your attention. I do
Gardner
have,
Mr. Gardner has a question.
okay.
When a person starts to rehab a house, and they get all these inspections and everything, and bids go out, and successful bidders sitting there, but he's got a bunch of jobs ahead of him. Is there any limit on how many bids a person can bid on?
I don't know for sure. I think that is kind of...
Sometimes they just stack them up, you know?
Yeah, and we need to check on that. It's because it's starting to create a problem now,
Real problem.
not just on rehab, but also on home ownership, on insurance, on all these other programs, because there was so many stimulus projects that are out there. We have some contractors who, for lack of a better word, they're close to being overloaded on the amount of projects that they have. And it's going to take some time to get all those projects done. And that is probably something that we do need to take a look at and see. A lot of it is up to the contractors. A lot of contractors will say, hey, step back and say, hey, you know, we've got way too many projects going. We don't want to bid on that project.
But the contractor's not gonna do that. They're gonna keep bringing them in as many as they can.
Yes, and that's...
Somebody's gonna have to cut them off.
Yeah, and that is one of the questions, and I think that's probably something that we need to sit down with the finance folks, the procurement folks over in purchasing, because they're ultimately the ones who put the bids out on the website, who go through and who issue the POs for us and all that other stuff. And we need to sit down with them and say, hey, you know, is there a way that we can say that this has to be done? One of the things that we do over on the home ownership side, and it may be something that one of our other departments need to take a look at too, is we put a time limit on the amount of time that a contractor has to get the work done. If we give them a time limit up front whenever the bids go out, we can hold them to that. If we don't, then you know, we run into one of those problems where, you know, contractors are going to keep on bidding on these projects until we come to a head and we say, hey, you know, either get it done or we're going to do something else. But I think that is a good question, and that is something that we do need to take a look at. And I'll make sure that our folks over in rehab look at that.
Time limit on the bid would work out.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, we had a question from Ms. Jordan.
It's really more of a comment. I know on the agenda for Friday at noon, there's going to be consideration of changes in insurance costs and changes, possibly increase in exit costs when they leave your housing. And I think it would behoove all of this council to be interested in those issues and possibly even turn out for that meeting, because you're going to get a lot of calls about it. The insurance program is a very popular program, and when we start increasing the cost, you will get calls. So it might be to everyone's benefit to consider at least participating to some extent in that meeting at noon on Friday.
And along those same lines, I don't know for sure, but I think the only discussion that David wanted to have with the board along the insurance program lines is on the amount that the people living in housing authority owned units are required to pay on the deductible. Right now they pay $100. Housing is charged $1,000 from the insurance company as a deductible. So family pays $100 and housing pays $900 of that deductible. And I think probably one of the things that we have seen is a lot of times it's families, and this doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes whenever you tell them, hey, you know, if you have a problem and you're going to be charged for those things to be fixed, they say, well, you know, that's insurance. I want to fill out an insurance claim for that, because a lot of times it's cheaper for them because they're only having to pay $100 deductible instead of $250 for whatever the repair might be. I don't know, but I think that is one of the reasons why they did want to discuss that, because that is one of the things that come up, and there has been a lot of insurance claims come in on minor type items that aren't really insurance related.
Go ahead.
Additionally, I don't know where the discussion will go, and Gary, you might enlighten us. It may not take place this month, but I know it's going to take place soon, on enlarging our insurance program where we might be able to take care of a house with an extra payment above the $80,000 basic limit now. And of course, I think that's a good thing. A lot of houses are worth more than $80,000, and people are getting really shocked if they have a burnout and they find out that their $130,000 house they're only going to get an $80,000 check. So this may be of great interest, and there may be a discussion about it on doing that, and I would hope that we would encourage our commissioners that have been confirmed by this council that would be a good thing to consider doing if our people are willing to pay an extra amount to get a higher limit on their home.
Yes, and that kind of goes in along with, I believe Councilmember Soap asked for this information at the last council meeting on the cost of constructing replacement homes. And that kind of goes along with, on the Native American and Community Shield programs that we have, which is the ones that privately owned homes that aren't owned by the housing authority, receive insurance on. The only program that we have has a limit of $80,000. That $80,000 limit, there's a lot of families who have homes that are 2,500 plus square foot that are on this program. All it covers is replacement, and is cost up to $80,000. So if it's over $80,000, they're going to cut you a check and give you $80,000. And a lot of these people, quite frankly, are underinsured. And that is one of the things why I think some of these families have seen our insurance folks take a closer look at, is this something we really need? Is this something that you really need, or is it going to be better for you if you go out on the private market and you're not going to be able to rebuild the house you've got at the cost it's insured for. If something happens to it, if it burns, you're really at a loss there. And that's kind of where that came from, and it's something that we do need to take a look at, and we are working in the process of working with Amran to maybe set up another community shield type program that maybe has some higher limits. With an extra premium, we might be able to insure a $100,000 home, or even a $120,000 or $130,000 home at those higher limits. That will help these families out and be a little bit more beneficial to them, instead of insuring every home that we put on the program at $80,000 limit, and the home is worth a lot more than that, and it makes the home underinsured. But the deal I did pass out, I believe Councilmember Soap asked for it last month from David, and it's a cost of what it's currently costing on our programs to build a replacement home and those are pretty current costs right now.
Right.
So if I'm reading this right, a 3-bedroom brick home is $65.44 a foot.
Yes.
And that's turnkey, we don't touch it.
Yeah, that is turnkey, and the first two columns there are rehab department, those replacement homes that they build. This last column is a replacement home that we had to build. It was a mutual help home. It's had structural problems. And from the day it was built, it's had some structural problems. A lot of things have been done to try to fix it. Nothing's been done to fix it, so we've had to go back in, and we're rebuilding this home. And that's how much the home is costing us to rebuild.
Yeah, but when you say rebuild, you dozed it.
Yeah, we dozed it down. We tore out everything. There was nothing left.
Right.
We took out all the fill material. We took out everything that was there on site, brought new stuff in, and constructed a new home.
How long has it taken this contractor to complete this home?
He started on it, I want to say, I think he's been working on it probably for 60 to 90 days, and he is getting close to being done. It's probably going to take him probably close to 90 to 120 days to wrap it up, complete it. Total.
So, 3 months to build,
3 to 4 months, yeah.
4 months to build.
Yeah.
$65 a foot, turnkey, but our self-help's taking a year to 2 years to build at $100 a foot. What's wrong with that picture? And they're less square footage. I mean, you're building more square footage for about the same money as what the self-help's costing us. There's something wrong with that picture. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Thank you. Commerce with Anna Knight. Anna?
Morning.
Good morning.
I have a copy of my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I did also want to give you information Councilor Hoskins had asked for at the Executive Finance Committee meeting on the number of MAP applications that are going to the multidisciplinary review team for criminal background, and that number is 47 they've reviewed, and 16 of those have been approved.
And tell me that again if it's still one.
The number of MAP applications that were denied due to criminal background check initially that went to the multidisciplinary review team were 47. They've completed the review on 47 of those, and 16 of them they've approved.
I see. And of the 16 that got approved, what kind of offenses were those? Were they low felony offenses, or? Would you know?
I really don't know.
So, in order for them not to qualify, a felony actually kicks them out of the program.
Well, what the multidisciplinary team does is review, is look at the application. They may interview the applicant, and they try to determine if the applicant is a danger to other people or if they've been rehabilitated.
Okay, so it's necessary. Ms. Jordan, you had a question?
Anna, is it correct that a misdemeanor, pending misdemeanor, will also get you kicked over to the multiple disciplinary team?
Yes.
And this is not where you've been convicted, and this is a misdemeanor. And this is nothing against Anna, because that's just the policies. But we are actually taking them out of the program if it is a misdemeanor and it is pending. That's basically, we're saying you prove you're innocent, not let the state prove you're guilty. Which seems a little harsh to me. And Anna and I have discussed this situation, and she's doing her very best to try to work around these things. But you, as the council, need to understand that this is not just felonies we're talking about. These are misdemeanors that might result only in say $100 fine, and there's no, it's still in the system. It's a pending case. I don't know if I'm the only one that has been given information on that particular type of case, but that goes against everything I learned in law school, is that you're presumed innocent till you're found guilty. And here we're almost reversing that and saying you need to prove to us that you are innocent before you even get out of the criminal system, or we're going to have to hold your money up. And that's just the way the policies are written, but we probably need to think about that. That seems Maybe I'm the only one of 17 that thinks that's kind of harsh, folks, but anybody, even any of us, could very easily get a misdemeanor. Very easily. And how would you feel if you had a pending house loan and you were told, oh, we're not going to help you because our criminal check, which is the last thing that we do in this process, is that right, Anna?
It is one of the final steps,
Yeah.
yes.
But one of the last things that we do in the process, after you've done everything else, you've took your classes, you've actually got your construction loan, you're waiting to close it and make it a permanent loan and access the down payment provisions that we allow under Anna's program, and you get stopped dead in your tracks because somewhere along the way you got charged with a misdemeanor.
Is this federal policy, Suzanne?
No, it's not, and I will clarify that the pending misdemeanors go to the interdisciplinary team for review. So they do have the flexibility to review the circumstances and deem the person eligible based on the charges against them, or determine that they need to wait for disposition of the charges.
So you said it wasn't federal policy?
It's not federal, no, it's tribal.
Okay. Well, I certainly think we need to take a look at that.
And we have copies of the criminal history policy that affects all the housing programs. It affects community services, human services, commerce, and who am I missing?
Ms. Fulbright, you had a question?
Yes. I just have a comment. Generally speaking, I would agree with Counselor Jordan here, but I had a situation, these people called me, they had been denied rental assistance because of pending drug charges against the husband. And they sent me this big long story, you know, this is America, you're considered innocent until it's proven guilty and all this. But after David Sutherland talked to me about the drug charges and all the problems that they had caused in our housing system, that it took $3,000 to $4,000, several $1,000s to clean up a drug lab. He said, we've been burnt so many times that if they have drug charges pending, we just don't let them in until it's all been resolved. And I kind of agreed with him. So that's my comment.
Just a short
Okay,
response if
we got
possible.
Mr. Baker for you then. Mr.
I'll go through it.
Go ahead.
These were not drug charges.
Okay.
And Anna's aware of the case that I'm talking about, but these didn't have anything to do with drug charges.
Well, you know, just listen to the conversation. I think we've got Anna and people like that looking at those, and it seems to work fairly well. So, and it's not saying that we can't have a meeting about it to look at those policies, but and I hear what Councilor Fulbright is saying too. So it makes some sense to look at these from a common sense perspective on any of these things. So we may want to look at those eventually. So I think you make a good point, Ms. Jordan. I think you make a good point, Ms. Fulbright. So there's a line that we have to look at and have to use some common sense about our judgments too. Mr. Baker had a comment.
And, you know, we were visiting about this same issue, and I was talking, had some younger people that were overhearing part of the conversation, and their comment was, every bitter ex-wife in the country will, if they find out that this is our policy, that they'll run down and file, you know, charges just to make it uncomfortable on the new husband or the husband and the new wife. Because if all you got to do is go file charges, because anybody can file charges, folks. It's easy. I mean, it's he said, she said, and you can get charges filed. And it just, you know, I just kind of think you're innocent until proven guilty.
But you think only ex-wives do that?
Absolutely.
You think only ex-wives do that?
Oh, no, that was just a comment that was made to me, that,
I hope you set it straight on the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take one more question.
I wouldn't do that.
Councilor Crittenden, and we're about to time limit. We do have some more business to take.
This won't take long.
Okay,
Mr.
that's
Chairman.
fine.
But Anna actually came back and answered the comment I was going to have, if it applied to better action items also.
Yes.
And it does. But suppose that one of us was down at the creek fishing, and we had an application in for one of these houses, or for a loan. And we had our tribal membership card and everything, and the game warden comes along and grabs me up. I think that's a misdemeanor under Oklahoma law if I get convicted of it. And I'd hate to think that would knock me out of, or could, this program when I'm down there exercising. I mean, that's just one type of misdemeanor that someone might get found guilty of. Just comment.
Well, those are good comments. And I think, Anna, the disciplinary team that you've got, it seems like you're handling it fairly well. And I don't know that and I certainly don't want to get into trying to pick and choose. So we'll take it under advisement and see how it goes from here. It sounds like you're handling it fairly well to me, and I don't want to mingle in trying to pick and choose. But we may want to visit that some other time, Ms. Jordan.
And to Anna's credit, I think she's trying to fix the system and make it work.
Okay.
And I certainly didn't mean that as any. Anna's doing a good job she's doing as best she can with a very trying set of rules that she has to go by. But to the 31 people that got turned down by the disciplinary committee, it is a very big deal.
Well, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if we looked into it, we'd probably find some stuff that we probably would agree with Anna, but we won't get into that today. But we can have that as a discussion some other time. And anything else you'd like to report? Well, thank you for the report. And moving on to new business, discussion and update on the water and sanitation program. And I've had a couple of people, participants and a couple of counselors to ask me about it. But Charlie, would you come forward a little bit? We have some questions, or I have a question for you. Maybe we can clear this up real quick. What I've had some calls about, Charlie, and some of the council members have talked to me about it, is in the water and sanitation program, when a person calls in for a pump went out, now the policy is that they have to pay for that pump up front, then you will go out and do the...
Well, let me clear that up right now.
That's what I want you to do. Clear it up, but you may not take long to do it.
And so we looked at it, and then we reviewed it with the administration. It's pending, and so right now it's on administrator's desk, and we're looking at it. And I think there's going to be some good outcome of this. Something that's going to come out of this after your call. We did review it, and it's pending right now. And so I can't really just say this is what it's going to be because I can't speak for the administration. So
we have calls from people, we still just need to refer them like we've always referred them in the past.
Yeah, and I checked with the staff this morning, and they said they really haven't had any problem with that as far as having someone not being able to help. I think there may have been one issue, one in the family that was affected by it. So that's where we're trying to head it off before it gets really out of hand. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
I had a couple of questions, one for Mr. Baker, then Mr. Jordan.
So if somebody has a well go out today, what's the policy today?
More than likely, we'll probably help them any way we can. We're not just going to leave them high and dry. We'll figure something out.
Okay. So the pending is old policy until you decide for sure? Is that right?
What was that?
I said today it's going back to the old policy until you decide. You said it was pending.
Right.
But today, are they doing what they did a month ago?
Right now, the policy is in place, so we'll be working with the new policy, but so far we have not had anybody that's had any problems with it. So hopefully it's on the administration's desk. We can get that cleared away. I'm pretty sure we'll probably have that done quickly.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it, Bill John, as far as that goes. We'll do something with it.
Okay.
Well, that's good to hear. We've had some concerns about that. Ms. Jordan, did you have a comment or question?
Now, Charlie, let me make sure I understand. Are they still going to have to buy the pump?
Well, I can't speak for administration.
Do what?
It's pending right now.
Okay, so that's the part that's pending, whether we will continue to ask them to buy the pump before we go out and do
That's a self-help component of it.
Okay.
There's all the other couple more areas that we can still help.
If they can't afford the pumps, is there another program that we can get them into? Because that pump's costing darn near $1,000, and most people are just not, they don't have any sort of emergency funds to cover that.
Well, I remember early years we used to have that program. I'm not real familiar who had it or what, but I know that there was such a program, and I know Harley and I talked about this briefly, about looking at it, maybe setting up another component of that. So I don't know really at this point as far as we can say we can do that or what. Then you get into, you start on collecting money, people making payments, and if they don't make payments, then what are you going to do with it or what? Let it go, or you enforce it, you know.
So
the
right
way you
now,
go.
we're pulling the pump, is that right,
We
or
have
they're
not
pulling?
had any problems, Donna, as far as with anybody not being served by not getting any water, getting a well. So far, we've been able to help everybody that's come along needing help.
But
So we don't have a problem yet.
Let's say we get a call, and we send somebody out. Are we pulling the pipe and the pump?
We will.
And then we are looking at the pump, I guess, and if it's wore out, we're saying it's wore out. And,
Yeah, so far we haven't got a call about that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's say we get a call.
Okay.
Let's do a hypothetical. We get a call from someone out, their water's gone. We send a worker out there. I guess they're pulling the pipe up, and at the end's the mechanism, I think, that usually is what goes out. Are we then stopping at that point?
Time we'll do something with it. We'll do
Okay.
something about it. We're not just going to leave them high and dry. We'll figure something out.
And the reason I'm asking, I didn't get a call on this, but my pump has gone out. And I'm just wondering how that would all work, because, I mean, you know, I can go get another pump, but I'm thinking there's a whole lot of neighbors that couldn't go get
Right.
another pump on just a day or two's notice. So I was kind of wondering, well, how does that work if you don't have the money? You just sit there with no water until you can save the money to get your pump? Is that how that?
Depends on the family, depends on who helps them. A lot of times people will get their families together or sometime, but like I said, we'll figure something out.
That piqued my interest, because I had that very same thing happen just not a week ago.
Well, you should call us when they got your, not just
No, I didn't call. I want everybody to know I didn't call.
I know you wouldn't, I know you wouldn't.
We're fixing it ourselves,
Right.
but
Yeah,
I just kind of wondered how that worked.
Yeah. We'll do something.
Because I know the cost now, and I thought, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just, you know, you got to get it out of your pocket somehow. Or you don't. Well, fortunately, we do have water, because we've got rural water and pump water.
You know what? We did a project, Jackson Mountain, Rocky Mountain Water. Everybody got water except us, and I'm going to do it myself. It's going to cost quite a bit to do it, but I'm going to do it myself. Self-pay. Pay for it myself, the whole work. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Baker had a follow-up.
Yeah, and are you meaning that we haven't had anybody since the fellow that called me? Because, I mean, I wouldn't even known about it if a fellow hadn't gone out and they said the new policy is...
So did the fella get help?
He actually bought a used pump from somebody else.
He got it himself, right?
And, but no telling, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last.
You got help, right? Well, nobody knows how long they're going to last.
Yeah. But I assume he's got water. He was trying to find a used pump to put
If he
in.
hadn't, you probably heard it from him again.
I don't know. But, okay.
Charlie, I do have one thing I'd like to get clarified here. I had two people that called me. Actually, the Community Service, the Water and Sanitation Department had drilled a well, and they got sulfur. Then they went back and told them, we're not going to put an aerator system on it. And I think I wrote it up, and you may have seen it. But what happens, and I have experience with the sulfur, what it does to your house. It will run your air conditioner, run your TV, run your hot water heater, run your refrigerator. It'll run your appliances in the house. But I'm concerned when we drill a well and we get sulfur and we tell people we're not going to help them anymore. We're not doing them any favors at all. We're doing a disservice to them, because if you don't put that aerator on there, it's going to run all their appliances in the house.
Well,
And they told me that was the policy that we'd change it, and that really concerned me, because I know that we get dollars from Indian Health Service to provide safe water for those houses, and if we put that sulfur in the houses, you're causing those people a lot of problems. So
Well,
take a look at that and see if there's something we can do.
Hardly we will, and even before even the policy we're talking about was in place, there's many people out there that's got sulfur water. You know, and he goes back to myself and say, well, they got sulfur water. So I know what you're talking about, and then we just installed sulfur aerators in Mays County, had the same problems, you know. So it's something that if people call, we do. If we can install aerator, we will. You know, we've been doing that.
Well,
It is a problem, I understand, it's a problem.
and I just think it's a good wake-up call for people that have real water that's running in front of their houses. They really need to get on those systems up there. And I've told people that. There's some people that live that can't get on it. But I just think, you know, I know we're not going to get an increase of funding from Indian Health Service, and I know those systems cost around $8,000 to $10,000 to do. So I know we're talking a lot of money, but still, if we don't do that aerator system, they're going to be calling Norman, they're going to be calling David Sutherland for a refrigerator or air conditioning unit. And so in the long run, you know, it may save us money by going ahead and just doing the system for them. So anyway, I wish you would take a look at it and see if there's something we can do to help out with those. I just wanted to bring it up and let you know that I haven't had calls. We're probably going to get more, you know, if we don't do that thing. Any more questions for Charlie? Okay, thank you for your time, Charlie. Moving on with no business, there's a resolution in here. It's a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for funding to the United States Department of Agriculture or Food Distribution Program. And Norman's here to talk about it. Do I hear a motion for that approval? Moved and second. Any questions on this resolution? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Moving on to item 3 is a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for 2011 funding for a low-income home energy assistance program. And also Norma's here to answer questions on that, but do I hear a motion for that approval? Motion second. Do you have a question, Dave, or do you second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. The next meeting is scheduled for September the 14th, and that's a little bit after our budget hearings. And I was going to ask maybe to amend the agenda today, but we're already out of time. But I did ask Doug Evans to print out the community services budget, and I'm going to pass those out. Take them home and take a look at it. If there's any questions, write them down, because I like to move through this thing as soon as we can when we do have budget hearings and things. Is there any announcements? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thanks everybody for coming.
5 minutes.